Hey, you beautiful beings. Welcome to Empowered Human with Nina Garcia. I am your host, and you are listening to the throwback episodes. Yeah, I have officially taken a pause on creating new episodes for the podcast so that I can focus on writing the book. It became very clear that while I have loved doing the podcast, I'm getting these episodes out every week to you all piecemeal. I was like, no more, no more. You all were like, please, please, can you get us all those skills and tools, Nina, in one area so that we can do the empowered human journey, so that we can really see what it's like from start to finish, to which I say, yes, absolutely. Let me get this to you. Yes. So what you're going to be hearing is this. You're going to be hearing throwback episodes from all 6 seasons, okay? It's not going to be every episode, so don't freak out on me yet. But it is going to be some of the episodes that were highlighted, that were popular, that we think, maybe you all missed and we want to bring it back. You're going to be hearing throwback episodes, and I am going to be listening along with you. I too want to hear about the journey and experience the journey that I had as we moved from Triggered Can We Play With That, the original podcast, all the way to Empowered Human with Nina Garcia. So you're going to hear personal stories. You're going to hear interviews. You're going to be given skills in every episode. Yes, you're going to be given tools in every episode for you to become skilled in. It is totally up to you whether you want to listen. If it's not the episode for you, skip to the next week, right? You just take what works for you, leave what doesn't. And if there's some stuff you're curious about, why don't you just go ahead and put that on the shelf? The podcast has always been about putting resources in the hands of people without needing to pay for it, right? And so this is no different. Even with these throwback episodes, what you're going to hear is this. We're going through, just as I said, you're going to still hear me talk at the beginning of each episode, letting you know, hey, we've had a transition. You're going to hear the original intro to the episode. You're going to hear the show music, and then you're going to hear the full original episode. This could mean that dates are off, that times are off, that people are talked about, that may no longer be in our lives, right? Just be aware of that. At the very end of the episode, you're going to see this face again come back to remind you that it was a throwback episode and to maybe offer you some adventure challenges as you move from week to week, right? Though the format of the episode did change over the years that we've done this podcast, the value is still there. So if you like something, definitely hit me up on Instagram at DramaTherapist Nina and be like, Nina, I love that throwback episode about XYZ thing. Yes, fill in the blank with that. Let me know. And if there's something that you're looking for in the meantime, also hit me up on Instagram at DramaTherapist Nina and let me know. Otherwise, stay curious and enjoy the ride, folks. I'll be right along there with you. Welcome to Empowered Human, the dramatically playful podcast that invites you to heal humanity, the one within you, me, and the world at large. I'm your host, drama therapist, empowerment specialist, and not to mention empowered human, Nina Garcia. And I'm so stoked you're joining me on the journey. Every Wednesday, you are invited to explore transforming from powered to empowered with genuinely human stories of courageous existence, healing from invalidation, and truly belonging to you. So wherever you are on the spectrum, from empowerment curious to empowered human ambassador, this podcast is designed to humanize. Get ready to lean into your edge, heal your worldview, and finally belong to you. This is Empowered Human. Let's take a breath. So here is the problem. We ask ourselves the question often, why can't I say no? And the question seems simple enough, like, why can't I say no? Underneath that question may be like, why can't I stand up for myself? I have something that I know that I want. Why can't I just say that? Why is that so hard? And of the many reasons why we may find it difficult to say no, the most pertinent that we'll kick it off with here is that you might be in danger, right? It might be dangerous for you to say no. This episode is not going to focus on the times when it is actually dangerous. As with all of our episodes, what we want to focus on in this episode, the tool that we're going to be using, is how to say no when it is physically okay for you to do so, but may be mentally or emotionally draining or hard for you to do so. So, that's the tool for today, folks. We're going to be talking about how can you practice saying no. I want us to be curious, not about why it is that we can't say no, because that involves something in the past. I want us to be curious about the right now. Why is it we don't say no right now? What is stopping us from saying no? And you know what I want to invite, folks? I want to invite the idea that it's not that you can't or that you won't, but that you may not know. All it takes is practice saying no. That being able to say no can in fact be a skill, not something you're born with knowing how to do, but a card in the deck of cards that you are handed throughout life. We can practice saying no, and we are going to start right here, right now. So take you another breath. Let it be refreshing on that exhale. And let's move forward. Here are some reasons why people often do not want to say no. There's the very common idea of, Nina, I don't want to come off as rude. That's a thing. People don't generally want to come off as rude, but for some reason, when we say no, this is an idea there that it automatically means that we are rude, like we're depriving someone of something. Even if, in the end, it's really us depriving ourselves of our own truth, our own wants, our own needs, ... Shall I go on? Another common thought is, well, I don't want to say no now because I might want to say yes in the future, so I don't want to rule out my opportunities. Listen, I get it. Nobody wants you to rule out opportunities. However, let me ask you this. Are you a fortune teller? And I say that really playfully because I have even been in the shoes of this particular line where it's like, man, I might want to say yes to this in the future, but right now I really can't. I don't want to say no, but you know what, boo-boo? You have to say no because you are not a fortune teller any more than I am. I want to invite you to stay in the present when you are practicing using this tool. We have to be able to say N-O spells no, and that's okay right now. So that's the second line. We're going to throw one more in here. Another popular line that people say for why they can't say no or don't want to say no is, it's not that big a deal, is it? Like if I say no, it's not that big a deal, right? It'll blow over. Well, that's a slippery slope, my friends. That's a very slippery slope. So, minimizing is what that last one is doing. It's minimizing the idea that it could be that your wants and needs and ability to say no to someone else is somehow less than what it's worth for you to be able to say no at all. So, we're going to throw in some examples here. And for these examples, first one I'm going to go through is a personal one. I was out with a friend, and we were out at some bar somewhere. This is ages ago, and it's just her and I, and we're there just catching up. It is literally just her and I catching up, having conversation. And I'm going to call her Cynthia. So Cynthia and I are there, and we're just talking, catching up on life. And this guy comes over, and he's obviously drunk. And he's leaning over, and he's clearly in our bubble, and we lean back, which of course he does not pick up on. And he's like, hey, I just want to talk to you guys. And my friend, Cynthia, pops out, and she's like, we're actually just catching up. It's, thank you, but we're just going to catch up, just us. And he keeps going. And he keeps talking about how he wants to get us drinks, and we're not really drinking. We're there to talk. And that's what we were doing until he interrupted. And so I come out and I say, no, it's exactly what she said. We're not interested in hanging out or talking with you right now. We're really trying to catch up with each other. So homeboy walks away and comes back like 2 or 3 times until we finally get to the point of sort of hemming and hawing and not wanting to come off as rude, where I literally have to say to him, so we've said to you 3 times at least already that we are not interested in talking to you. I'm not trying to come off as rude, but I feel like 3 times is a lot of times for me to have to say, we are not interested in talking with you, and it has nothing to do with you. We cannot catch up with each other if you continue to interrupt us. Yeah, I said that. So, forward, yes. Assertive, yes. Did it get the job done? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Homeboy was drunk. He then proceeded to come back like at least one more time. And I was just like, remember what we said? Yeah, we're not interested. So while I would love to say that it always goes out without a hitch when you can confidently say no from the beginning, it's not always the case. And yet, we are not going to let this hinder us from saying no with confidence and assertion when it is necessary and like so vital and integral to our ability to own our own space and to claim our truth in the moment. It is not a mystery why we don't say no. It's probably not a mystery why we can't say no or why we haven't done this in the past and leading up to this point. It just wasn't practiced. And so here is your new plan for the upcoming week. You are going to exercise saying no. Yeah? Sort of like you exercise your brain with different things or exercise a particular muscle group. You are going to exercise the skill of saying no this week. Let me hear you say it. I am going to exercise the skill of saying no this week. Woo! Okay, here's how you might practice this. We love us some continuum thinking here on this podcast, and this is no exception. When you practice a skill, it can be one of many ways, but here are some ways to think about it this upcoming week. Season 2, Episode 2 actually mentions this, and we're going to review it here. So, first way that you can practice from 1 to 5, 1 being the least public, 5 being the most public, let's go ahead and start with 1. It's private. If you want to practice the art of saying no privately, you are going to think about it in your own head. This means when you take the time to practice this skill, you are going to think about a time when you did not say no, but you wish you had, and you are going to reimagine it. It is literally an imaginal rehearsal in your head. You can do this. Rehearse that moment several ways potentially regarding how you might have done it, how you might have said no. And there's a lot of different ways that you can say no. But if you're going to do it privately, this is the way to do it. If you're like, nah, been there, done that, I want to take it up a notch, maybe you want to go into semi-private. Yeah, you want to share and rehearse this practicing of the skill no with someone you know and love and trust. Whoever that is in your world that is able to say, okay, I'm going to do this with you. We're going to let you practice saying no, and you're going to share with them a time where you wish you had said no and you didn't. And you are going to rehearse that scene. Yes, you are. Okay, so let's say you're like, no, Nina, take it up a notch, not semi-private. I want to parallel with this. I really want to talk with people who have this thing in common where we both can't say no and we're ready to deal with this with each other. Excellent. You might reach out to someone who's an acquaintance, to somebody who has mentioned this before, who's maybe not the most safe person for you. And that is okay if that's where you are. This is you leaning into that edge and seeing how resilient you can be and practicing saying no. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Maybe you want to keep going. We're at level 4 now. Semi-public, practicing of the skill. You're like, no, I want to be able to talk about this with people. I want to put this out there. Then you might literally put it out there and say, hey, I want to get a group of friends together.
people I know, and I want us to practice this skill. Like, let's do this. Let's all come up with moments where we've had a hard time saying no, and let's rehearse it with each other. Let's like redo these scenes how we would have done them, and let's practice this. And then let's say you want to go full on out. You're like, no, I'm ready to do this. I am going to get with people, put this out there as a part of my story, and I'm going to publicly say, sort of like I have in this episode, this is what I've done, this is what I've practiced, and here's how I did it, and here's how you can too, right? If you're at level 5, you're ready to pull other people in to also claiming that space and moving forward, right? Not, of course, that you're not before that, but you are definitely ready by 5 to just get it out there and be direct with people who you need to say no to. So, again, we're coming back to this question of how are you going to practice this upcoming week? Do you need to do it by yourself with someone you really care about who's close to you, someone who's also had this experience but not that close to you? Are you going to bring a group of friends into it and put it out there on Facebook or Insta? Or are you going to just get through this with another, maybe even an actual person who you've previously had problems saying no to, take it to them, flip the script with all this practicing of saying no, and respectfully say no, right? And not just respectfully for them, respectfully for you, right? Yes. Okay, I'm getting a little jazzed over here. But saying no is a skill. It can be practiced. And there's lots of different ways you can do it, as we just went over this, but it can be done. So I want to invite you to commit. I want to invite you to commit to being okay with saying no, whether it's just to yourself right now or to any of the other pieces that we've offered in this episode. I know that we're nearing the end of the episode, and I'm wondering, what's your takeaway? I know I'm sitting with, beyond a really dry throat for some reason right now, maybe I've been talking too quickly. I'm sitting with, I think like an excitement around, I think there's a real confidence that comes from being able to say no and claim that space. I had a friend who said something akin to, like, your no has to have meaning for your yes to have power, and forgive me if that's flipped, but it was a really beautiful thing to hear. I want my yes to have power. I want my no to have power. And I want them both to have a meaning, right? A sense of meaning and sense, like things make sense to me, that I know that this is a no for me, and I know that this is a yes for me, right? That I'm able to process that and make that choice and not leave it up to someone else. For those of you who enjoy a bit of self-exploration beyond all the things we've already done, I'll leave you with a question for the upcoming week. How can I start practicing saying no? That's it. How can you start practicing saying no? As if it were a skill, as if it were a muscle group, as if it were literally anything else. How do you just start practicing?
It's me again, reminding you that this was a throwback episode. I hope that you were able to take something from it, even one little nugget of wisdom, and use that between this week and next week, right? The purpose of these episodes is to give you tools. It is up to you to decide whether you want to become skilled in them. You picking up what I'm putting down? So take a tool, take something, a perspective, a moment, something that works for you, and use it in your life to transform hard conversations into teachable moments, to transform the way that you play with scary moments, right? To transform your life, to help make you the most courageous, most healing-oriented, most belonging person, right? No matter where you go, that you belong to yourself everywhere you go, right? Courage, healing, belonging, whatever it is that you are taking from this episode, take it with you so that you can get out there and live your most vibrant life, you beautiful human being, okay? All right, I'm signing off for now, but I'm gonna see you soon, okay? I'm gonna see you real soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for being willing to explore healing your humanity on Empowered Human. I hope you found at least one new way to transform your worldview from powered to empowered. If you took something from the show, please take a moment of your time and subscribe to Empowered Human. And if it really nourished you, leave us a review. Your feedback helps me understand what our community needs. Not to mention, it helps others discover the empowered human life. So keep this last bit in mind. All the visual goodies come with me on Instagram at Drama Therapist Nina. Stay up to date there on upcoming episodes, behind the scenes goodness, and reels dropping knowledge. Thank you again for being part of the empowered human community. Until next time, stay curious.